Bonjour mes amis et bienvenue au Jeu de Canada. Je suis votre animateur Marc Power. Now, because I started in French, you probably figured out we're back in La Belle Provence talking about a French show. And you're probably already wondering what I'm doing with this fucking thing on my head. Well, there's two reasons. First of all, I think Game TV has been spying on me and stealing ideas directly from my brain, so I'm trying any means necessary to block it. Don't believe me? Check this out.
Canada has a proud game show history, and Game TV wants you to be part of our new documentary series that will debut in January. Do you have footage of a classic Canadian game show, or were you a contestant on one? If so, we want to hear from you. We want to hear your stories and see that old footage. To help us rediscover Canada's game show history, go to canadasgameshows.com for details. Proudly brought to you by Game TV.
See what I mean? Sounds so similar, right? Now, granted, in addition to doing a history retrospective, I'm also critiquing the shows, kind of. And I realize I'm not the first game show reviewer out there. But it seems like a big coincidence that they would put that out not all that long after I started doing this. But who knows? And the other reason is to pay tribute to today's show, which, by the way, was a special request from Seidelman, and I'm told I'm doing this in honor of Tim Connolly. I'm not exactly sure why, but Tim, apparently this is for you. It's time to look back at Captain Cosmos and Les Satellipopettes.
Qui que tu sois, cœur à toi. Ah ben ce qu'on va essayer de faire à cette émission-ci, c'est naturellement de monter nos robots pour entendre leur message merveilleux.
Les Satellipopettes was a popular kids show from Montreal that began in 1975 and ran until 1985 for a total of 10 years. The host is Captain Cosmos, played by Montreal-based singer and comedian Claude Stéban, who also created the show. Claude does a fantastic job with this show. His best trait is his energy. He looks to be enjoying the show without looking like a poser, so he has the whole kids host theme down to a science. The entire show follows a sci-fi theme. Sci-fi was huge at the time, with the original Star Wars being released in 1977. In fact, after Star Wars launched, Les Satellipopettes somehow, against all odds, succeeded in getting permission from George Lucas to use the phrase "Que la force soit avec vous," or in English, "May the force be with you." Claude usually uses this as a greeting. The game itself is played between two teams of three, with each team representing a different school, and each school allowed to send one team per year. The teams are divided up as Team Math and Team Maddox. To begin the show, two members of each team choose a postcard from a bin sent in by home viewers. More on this later. The format is basically an adaptation of the sandwich quiz from the UK. But instead of building sandwiches, the kids build robots. Questions are asked to two members of each team. Correct buzz and answer earns a piece of the robot. And I have to say, while watching this, you can't help but feel for the kid putting together the robot. Did his or her school think they were the dumb one, and that's why they're not answering questions? Or that their friends thought they were the dumb one? Or they just lost some bet or whatever, and had to be the builder instead of one of the question answerers? Anyway, after a few questions, the segment ends with a memory game. Claude reads a piece about an interesting fact, and then calls on everyone to lock it in their memory banks. After a commercial, there's a segment involving two members of the studio audience playing a game or taking part in some sort of activity for a small prize. Then the game resumes with the stunt portion. Two stunts are played, with the team faring the best, earning robot pieces, and then the game concludes with another question segment. This time, however, the questions all come from the memory piece that Claude had read a few minutes before. The first team that completes the robot, which takes 10 pieces, wins the game, and the robot even comes to life.
Mon ami Matic, voici.
Enfin, comme dirait Paul, j'étais au comble de l'énervouillement.
Ah ouais?
Ça calme vraiment de savoir qu'on est du côté des vainqueurs. Merci et bravo, mes trois cœurs. Bip, 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 hurrah.
The losing team receives a consolation prize, while the winners receive the Cosmos trophies. By the way, I mentioned earlier about the postcards the kids picked. Well, Claude shows these off at the end of the show. Usually if you were sending in pictures or drawings or whatever. And the viewers whose cards were chosen each received some nice gifts. And that was pretty much the whole show. A harmless time waster. And it was a huge hit, lasting 10 years on TVA, and even spawning a series of children's albums, all sung by Steban. But once the mid-80s came around, trends changed, and TVA quickly canceled the show and even stopped the reruns and distanced themselves completely. Unfortunately for the show's host, Claude Steban, the show that made him a star also pretty much ruined his career. Claude claimed in a 2017 interview with Le Journal de Montréal that after the show ended, he got no offers, and his biggest gig would be traveling the province as Captain Cosmos, teamed with several toxology experts, touring several schools, hosting seminars about the dangers of drug use. This gig lasted 6 years, and Steban says he made pretty much no money from it. Typecasting is an ugly thing, boys and girls. But Steban says he's not bitter about it, and says even today he has people come up to him on the street to say, "Hey, I saw you at my school." And unlike many of his colleagues who missed the spotlight, he says he's fine with it and enjoys being retired and being a family man with 7 children, 16 grandchildren at the time the article was published anyway. So that certainly keeps him busy. So that was Les Satellipopettes, a very good kids show, but unfortunately it ruined Claude Steban's career. But at least he's not bitter about it. Now, I should say in all seriousness, though, about what I said of Game TV earlier. They are trying to do this documentary in January, Canada's game shows, and are looking for all the footage they can find, or even any stories if you were a contestant on the show. So I do encourage you to go check out canadasgameshows.com, because it does sound like it's going to be a very cool project. And I'm also hoping that because I'm plugging them, they're not going to sue me for what I said before. Next time on the Game Show Canada, we'll be looking back at a musical trivia show from the 1970s called Face the Music, not to be confused with the show that you had in the United States hosted by Ron Ely. So now, if you'll excuse me, my craft dinner's ready. I've got to go strain it. I'll see you next time on the Game Show Canada. Long may your big jib draw.
Les satellipopettes sont des robots sans lunettes qui viennent de leur planète, voir si on n'est pas trop bête, et voir les devinettes, leur mettre le cœur en fête, en secoue dans l'assiette, puis les satellipopettes, ah, ah, puis les satellipopettes, ah, ah, puis les satellipopettes.
I'm realizing that the first game. Oh! Ah! They hit me in the dick. Oh! Oh, they hit my dick. Ah!